I thank the chair, and I thank you for joining us today in person, Chairman Clayton, to discuss U.S. capital markets during this pandemic. And I just want to say, for the record, I have always worked very closely with you in your office and found you to be a person of incredible integrity and character and highest of ethics. So I want to thank you for that. I am sure that you'll continue to comport yourself in such a way. I have great confidence in you. Chairman Clayton, despite the challenges of the coronavirus, I'm pleased to see that the Commission is hard at work looking to improve our markets. Can you please describe recent proposed changes to your equity market structure and where you think improvements will be most valuable for the investing public, specifically Main Street investors that I have fought for so passionately for the past 8 years in Congress?
So thank you. Our equity market structure has become incredibly complex. Just to level set everyone, virtually all trading, I can almost emphatically say all trading is electronic. It's done in nanoseconds, and it's complex. And our job at the SEC is to make sure that what you pay for trading, and it ultimately filters down to our long-term investors, is fair and reasonable. And we're looking at both infrastructure and governance of data plans and the way data is distributed to those who trade in our markets to try and make sure that that aspect drives fair and reasonable pricing.
Thank you. Chairman Clayton, I'm worried about the risks of fraud stemming from the coronavirus. We saw during the 2008 financial crisis a rise in investment scams that take advantage of the extreme kind of volatility in the stock market that we've seen. And I am deeply concerned about the seniors in my district, those that are saving for their retirement security. I'm concerned about these scammers that are out there. Can you describe what the Commission is seeing in terms of coronavirus-related fraud and scams, and what the Commission is doing in its examination and enforcement efforts to reduce these kinds of frauds?
Unfortunately, we are seeing corona-related fraud. We're seeing people tout products that they say they have, testing that they say they have, and then trying to pump up the value of their stock, or in private placements, we're seeing some of that. And our enforcement staff is being extremely proactive in looking at these claims, and if there are substantial indicia of fraud or misconduct, bringing trading suspensions and eventually actions. What I can say to investors is, deal with professionals. Let's deal with professionals, broker dealers, investment advisors. If you're at all doubtful about any of these
known entities, those that you've worked with before and such, because we've seen it quite on the uprise. We certainly saw it in 2008, and it's something of deep concern to me, to retail investor, and especially our most vulnerable seniors that could lose everything that they have put their life into. So it's a great concern to me. I'm encouraged, like everyone, to see that the Commission remains committed to its regulatory agenda during the pandemic. The SEC is under your leadership has made great progress on a number of proposals that will remove unnecessary regulatory burdens on businesses and streamline the flow of capital that we need so desperately right now to stimulate economic recovery. I know you've been giving us some updates on what you've got in the queue here. Very pleased to see that the Volcker rule was finalized today. And any other brief update on the progress of the Commission's efforts, especially on things like to harmonize the exempt securities offering framework and the proposal to modernize framework for fund valuation practices and such. I think that comment period ends on July 21st or something. So any kind of a quick update would be great.
I'm optimistic that we'll be able to conclude, if not all items, virtually all items on our regulatory agenda, including what I want to say is the harmonization of that exempt offering framework, and bringing transparency to a number of places where transparency is needed. And I'm excited that the women and men of the SEC, through a telework posture, responding to all of these events, the fact that they've been able to continue with our defined agenda and do so in an incredibly professional way, I can't say enough good things about them.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and I yield back to the chair.